Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Tees Valley Sport Podcast. Today I'm joined by Amanda Bell. Amanda is a swimmer from the Tees Valley. She's not just a swimmer, she's a teacher, she's a mum who in 2014 swam the English Channel. So today we listen to her talk about her motivations behind why she started open water swimming, how she juggled family life, work life with pretty impressive feats, I think you'll agree. So we hope you enjoy the episode and we hope it might motivate some of you to want to try open water swimming for the first time. So yeah, enjoy the episode. Thanks a lot. Hi, Amanda. Lovely to meet you. Can you just introduce yourself, please, and a bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, hiya. I'm Amanda Bell, open water swimmer, and have been swimming now for 10 to 11 years in the local area as well as other places around the country and further afield. I'm a teacher and a mum as well.
Oh. Nice. That's a nice juggling act. Juggling your teacher and your parent and your open water swimming. I bet that's a tough old juggling act for you.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, obviously, when I've been training for bigger swims, I've actually had to juggle quite a lot with, and that's been really difficult. You know, teaching's quite a full-on job. It's quite long hours and bringing up kids as well. So it wasn't a case of, you know, I can do this whenever. It was fitting it in when it fit in, and you have to have quite a lot of motivation to be able to.
Yeah, of course, I can fully understand that. So apart from swimming, have you got any other background in sport and physical activity, or was swimming the kind of your first passion for sport? Was there anything previous to swimming?
I did do judo when I was much younger, up until about the age of probably 13. I took up swimming first when I was about 14 or 15 and did a year or so at a club in Thornaby Amateur Swimming Club. And then I didn't swim from then. So from being 16 right the way up until 2010. So I hadn't swum at all, and just decided that I'd spent quite a bit of time bringing up kids, making sure I had a career, etc., etc. And I just decided I needed to get back into some physical activity. So I'd noticed a friend had done the Great North Swim in Windermere.
Okay.
And I say this now, but it's only a mile in open water. But at that time I thought, right, I can do that. And I got a gym membership and jumped back in the pool. And I was struggling at that point to get anywhere near to a mile in the pool. I think I was doing 20 something lengths and it was really, really difficult. But then slowly built up so that I could swim a mile comfortably in the pool before getting into.
Excuse my ignorance. How many lengths is a mile in a pool? I'm not very good for maths.
64.
64 lengths. Wow.
Yeah.
Swimming's not my strength, so I'm very envious of people that can go on and do loads and loads of lengths in the pool. It's not something that I've really had much of a love for, but I'm very, very envious of people that do swimming because it looks a great form of fitness.
It is, but that's where the pool has its downside for me, because, you know, if you're just going up and down in lengths, it can become very tedious very, very quickly, which is where open water is much better. You know, you can jump in and, you know, I go in the tees quite a lot and you can swim quite a significant distance within the tees and it's never dull, it's never the same. Whether it's something
I bet you've seen some lovely views. I bet you've had some lovely views.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You know, we've done sunrise, we've done full moon swims, all kinds of things that you see, that you get a different perspective on the world. But I think my favourite thing is that nobody can get to you. There's no phone, there's no email, there's no outside world trying to get to you, which is my favourite thing. So
no screens, is there? A nice little break where it's just you and the water. I guess that's
absolutely.
I think that's something that everyone wants a little bit of time off, and I think that's something which, you know, I'm guilty for that, where it's a phone or it's a laptop, it's work, it's when you finish work, you're still looking at screens, you've got your phone, like literally, I mean, you pick your phone up and you're contacted every way possible, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what was nice to get away from as well at first, even though I needed that goal to get me into the water and sorted. But you know, from there, I suddenly realised that not only was I really motivated to do more things, it was actually providing the calmness in my life that I needed, that bit of time out, the buzz that you got when you got out the water, I felt was incredible, which is why I was able to continue on with being motivated. So from doing a mile in Windermere, I went on to 2 miles, 3 miles, and just slowly built up, you know. And I think when you think that it seems like it's a long distance to swim 5 miles at the time, which it was, and then suddenly you realize actually you can do bigger and better things, which
Yeah.
was great.
So what was it that initially attracted you to open water swimming then? You mentioned a friend, was it, that you'd seen doing it? Was that what it was, just to go along with a friend, or?
That's all it was. I saw her had done this swimming. It looked great, you know. I'd never even heard of open water swimming, didn't think it was a thing. But from her posting about doing the Great North Swim, I thought, oh well, there's a goal. That'll do. And, yeah, I can't run. I've never been able to run, so
I
you
know the
know,
feeling.
doing the Great North Run or anything like that would take me probably a month. Swimming seems to be the ideal goal.
Oh, amazing. So you've obviously mentioned that the Great North Swim was your first kind of swim that you did, but what other
Yeah.
ones have you done? What other open water swims have you completed and achieved then?
Well, my the biggest achievement was the English Channel, which was in 2014. You know, that was something that I thought, oh, that would be good in the distance. And I don't think there was ever a point when I truly believed that this was going to happen. But I actually was of the mindset of I wasn't, not that I wasn't bothered, but I knew that it was a great achievement just to get to Dover and start that swim, and I would
Absolutely.
get as far as I possibly could, which was the aim. You know, and that was the greatest achievement. But I've swum round Jersey, which is 42 miles, but tide assisted. The length of Loch Lomond overnight,
Oh, wow.
which was interesting because there wasn't that much to see there. And I think speaking to my crew, there was many times that I went in the wrong direction or whatever, you know, so that was quite an achievement. And that was through the BLDSA, the British Long Distance Swimming Association, who really were part of the journey all the way along. They do many swims when COVID allows across the country of different distances, and so you can be a novice. So the first event I turned up to was a 3K. They call them races, which put me off as well because I don't race. I go my own pace and I get there when I get there. But they call them races. And I was quite nervous because I thought I'm turning up to this association, the British Long Distance Swimming Association, to swim a 3K, and there's going to be people there that have done all sorts. And straight away I found that wasn't the case. There are lots of people in the association who have done fantastic swims all over the country and the world, but they were so welcoming to everybody. So, you know, I've continued with them and doing their swims all the way through, whatever I've been training for, and just for fun sometimes.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah. If we have a bit of a focus on the channel swimming, so for those that don't know, how far was that swim?
In a straight line, it's 21 miles across, but you very much with the tide. So every 6 hours, the tide's going either one way on the channel or it's coming back down again. And you're kind of taken with that. So when you look at tracks of channel swimming, you'll see that they go in an S shape usually.
Right.
And you are aiming for 1 point on the French side. But it's very rare that people, well, it's not very rare, there's people who do hit that point, but lots of others end up at different places along the coast, depending on tides and etc., which is what happened in my swim. I ended up quite a fair way down with the pilot shouting at me that we were going to end up with the ferries in Calais, which
oh, wow,
I've been able to do.
Crikey. So how long did that swim take you then?
18 and a half hours.
Wow. And was that continuous, or did you have breaks?
You can't stop at all. You can't have any human contact, so you can't have anybody else touching you. You can't touch the boat. The only thing you can have is you get thrown, it's very glamorous, protein type shake bottle over the side on a piece of string that you can have a high carb drink from.
Okay.
And that's it really. You're allowed a support swimmer in the water with you once or twice across the way, but to be honest, when you get so far in your swim, you're kind of oblivious to anything that's going on.
I can imagine. So did you, in terms of training for that then, was it all done in the water, or did you do some pool swimming as well to get yourself prepared for it? Like, obviously, you know, I can imagine that I've never swum open water, but I can imagine it's a heck of a lot different to swimming in a swimming pool.
Yeah, it is, but you've got to mix the two, I think, because obviously through the winter, and I'm seeing that now, especially now with COVID, when the pools are closed, I can only do open water. And this time of year, you're really restricted to the cold. It's a different kind of swimming again, so you're looking at 10, 15 minutes maybe at these temperatures, going to maybe 30 minutes as it warms up slightly. So over the winter, if you making that your real training, you can't. So you've got to get in the pool to get in the fitness, get in the speed training as you go. But then as summer comes, you can dump the pool altogether, which is my favorite time, and just swim as much as you can. Now, obviously, freshwater swimming and sea swimming are very, very different and have their own challenges. So the sea obviously is a lot more wary. People are a lot more wary of the sea, quite rightly, because you've got,
I can imagine that.
tides, and obviously if you swept out somewhere, you've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But you've also got the salt that gives you the buoyancy, so you can get, it's much much kinder on your shoulders when you are swimming.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Whereas fresh water can be harder on your shoulders because you don't get that buoyancy. But also freshwater, you don't get jellyfish and.
Did you come into contact with jellyfish in your swim?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I bet that was interesting.
About 8 hours in, I was ready to give up. I'd been stung.
It wouldn't have taken me 8 hours, I'm telling you now.
I've been stung so many times. I actually had quite a friendly little name that I called them to my crew at that point, which I can't repeat on here. But,
yeah, please. It's not we're PC in here. We've got to keep it clean.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the most difficult part. They could have broke me because I was like, I'm tired. I'm nowhere near there. You could see, and you just have to think, right, just crack on and ignore them. I was spending so much energy trying to avoid the jellyfish at first, by sometimes swimming backwards, trying to swim round. In the end, I just thought, just plow through them.
Wow. So in terms of obviously the build up to the swim, did you have a training plan? Were you following was it structured? Were you going out on a certain day doing this, next day doing this, or was it just kind of a suck it and see approach really? How did you tackle that?
Yeah, now people have very different ways. I've got friends who have training plans that are down to the meter of what they're going to swim each week. Mine had to be a little bit more open than that because it did have to fit in with family and work. So rather than having plans that involved each week, I would do this, and this, I had plans that involved big swims. So in the build up to the channel, I did Ullswater to start off with. Then I moved on to a one-way Windermere, which is 10.5 miles, and then a two-way Windermere, which is the equivalent distance of the channel. Right. So obviously I trained up for each of those events so that it was broken down. I wasn't necessarily training for the channel. I was training for each event as it came up, which made it better for me, kept motivation going a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what about the diet nutrition side of things? Was that quite a strict one, or was that did you have a carb load the day before? Was there anything you weren't eating to be careful? What was that like? If you could explain that one.
Well, again, other people have very different views of me. I didn't change anything in terms of that. I just continued on. There's other people that will do very strict, either carb-rich diets. But I've also got friends who do Banting type diets. So that's just protein and fats, and they cut out the carbs altogether.
Wow.
And I honestly don't think in the end that is the game changer. The game changer is your own head. That's what will stop you from achieving these things. In the channel, it was a head game. Your body's tired at a certain point, but it's not really going to get any more tired. You
just got to keep going, haven't you? I suppose following from that then. So obviously, there was obviously the physical impact it's had on you, but what about the mental side? Did it have any kind of mental health kind of impact? Was there anything positives, negatives?
Yeah, the open water swimming for mental health has masses of positives. Taking out training for goals, etc. Just people that I see around me as well as myself, just getting in the water, and there could be days where you actually couldn't be bothered to get up and do anything. Yet, I know that if I make myself go for a swim, that I am better mentally for the rest of that day. I
Yeah.
also know if I've got a week where I haven't been able to get out and swim, that actually mentally I'm in a much worse position. So it's an enormous mental health buzz from that point of view. I know there's a lot of research going into open water swimming and mental health at the moment, and in some groups that are using open water swimming as a treatment for mental health,
Oh,
which I
wow.
completely understand. You know,
That's really interesting.
yeah, I mean, there's been a few. There was a TV program a couple of years back, I think, on the same, where they took people. So rather than treating depression or anxiety with medication, they tried it with open water swimming, and it did have an impact for a lot of
It's
people.
incredible. I mean, I think mental health is something that is really at the forefront now. I think especially with COVID and with the past year and with people facing so many
Yeah,
issues around the lockdowns and stuff. I certainly think that more people now are looking for ways to improve their mental health. So
yeah.
you definitely, from your experiences, you would definitely say that, you know, open water swimming is something that's really helped you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without a doubt, you know, and particularly now at this time when pools and gyms are closed, so people are trying to find alternatives. It is a brilliant way. I mean, obviously, you've got to do a little bit of research first and find somebody within your local area that will be able to help and give you advice.
Yeah,
It's not just a case of jumping in because you've got cold water shock that, you know, could really affect somebody. That's the worst thing. But in terms of actually getting through lockdown, I've continued to swim through the whole of this lockdown because
oh, that's amazing.
I can meet one other person. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't go on my own for obvious reasons, but I do meet one other person, and we would get in the tees, or I've been doing the tees quite a lot recently because it's close by, so I don't
yeah.
have to leave the local area. Um, but yeah, in terms of that, that's got me through lockdown, no doubt.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, as I say, it's something that it's obviously really been highlighted. That I think, especially with this lockdown now, with it being darker nights and the colder
Yeah.
days, I think more and more people are looking for things, which is, you know, obviously you found what you found what helps you, and I think everyone needs to find that thing in their life which can benefit them. So
Yeah,
it's great
absolutely.
that you've managed to do that.
And I think, you know, people would sit listening to me and going, oh, well, you know, a channel swimmer who gets in open water, that's all right. I couldn't do that. Well, actually, you can, you know, within our local swimming groups, and they're all social groups. You've got people who have done incredible swims to people who just want to get in and heads up breaststroke for a couple of meters or whatever and get back out again. And every one of those people has the same advantages from, you know, relief from mental health. So I
So
think it's vital to stress that you don't have to be an amazing swimmer to get into open water.
so it just there's plenty more to discuss, but just in terms of asking the questions, where would people find out if people want to find out about open water swimming? Where would they find it out? Where would they find out some more information?
Facebook's a great one. You've got quite a lot of groups that are on there. There's many in the local area now. So we've got Northeast Open Water Swimmers, which covers the whole of the Northeast. I mean, there's swimmers up in Blyth and Newcastle to down towards Leeds area in that group. There's also ice swimmers, Hartlepool. They were in the press recently going in. There's there's a number of other groups, Seaham and areas around there, but Northeast Open Water Swimmers was where I started. It's got an awful lot of members in. You can't arrange group swims at the moment, but you can ask advice, and you know, quite often once restrictions lift, people will arrange group swims again, and then that's fine. But there'll always be that one person who'll meet up and take you in for the first time.
Awesome. I'm just going to be 2 seconds, Amanda. So going back to the channel swimming, what was your biggest fear about the channel swim?
There are lots of fears with channel swimming, and I in particular was what was in the water, the jellyfish, everything else like that. That was my,
I
and
think that
actually,
would be my ultimate fear.
well,
What's beneath me?
it's made me worse since the channel swim, to be honest, because I hate jellyfish even more, which is why I went out to Ireland. At one point there was we don't call it a fail swim, an unsuccessful swim. We were going to be the first three ladies relay to swim from Ireland to Scotland, and we got
Okay.
within a couple of miles of shore, and the swim was pulled. And the jellyfish there was something, I don't know why I was moaning about jellyfish before then. You like really had to change your mindset. So I took the view of battling that challenge, you know, rather than not doing any more sea swimming. I decided to swim in the place where they would be the worst.
Oh, wow.
And that was really, really difficult. And for many people, the fear of open water is what's there, what's underneath. People don't like to put the face in because for various reasons, you know, one could be cold, one could be what's there, which is why some people prefer just to swim heads up and actually see the view. In terms of the channel, there was lots of other things, you know, you had lots of support from that, which was fantastic, and not wanting to let anybody down. You know, if you didn't make it, what would people think, etc., you know, and some of that gave you the motivation to keep going on those times where you decided you wanted to get out. I do remember at one point, often quite a lot of my swims, my motivation is, what do I want to tell people when this swim's done or not done? And sadly, what might I post on Facebook? You know, do I want to get in, I've done it, or sorry guys, I got out, and that keeps you going.
Amazing. So are you still involved now? You mentioned that you still do some swimming, but are you involved in any clubs still? Are you involved? What's your involvement at the moment?
In terms of clubs, there's a Tri-Life club that I'm involved in, mainly for swimming. They do some awesome running and cycling as well. The British Long Distance Swimming Association I'm involved in. Obviously, when events can run again, we'll be up and running, but there's lots of things going on in the background of that. In terms of swimming clubs, I'm not anymore. I rejoined Thornaby Amateur Swimming as a master swimmer, but I'm not doing that anymore. I do my own training. You know, I don't stick to anybody else's schedule really. I go when I can, I do when I can. You know,
Try and juggle everything around, as you say. It's obviously a lot going on, so it is finding that balance, isn't it? It's finding the balance between you wanting to do what you need to do, and then it's obviously around your job, around your family.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
that balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I did find at some points you put too much pressure on yourself. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. Other people. Once I stopped looking at what other people's training was and just did my own thing and enjoyed it, that was when it became much better. You know, I didn't have to push myself to these ridiculous hours. But even though I do quite a few long swims, so last summer we were swimming 10 plus K in the T's. You know,
wow,
the other week. But again, you know, like, don't want to put people off as well, because you can just get in down at Preston Park. There's loads of people swim off the jetty there.
Yeah, I've seen a few people around there. We quite often go, well, not at the minute, but we've quite often been there, especially in the summer months, and you're always seeing people just jumping off the jetty and going for a swim. And you know, I'd love to do it, but for me personally, for my personal, I'm a bit scared of what's, as I said, I think it's for me, it's what's underneath me. Even somewhere in the T's, I know there's not going to be anything that's going to be able to hurt me, but it's just that panic, isn't it? But I think for people who want something different to do, I mean, I know there's a few people that I work with, they absolutely love open water swimming, and they rave about it. And, you know, they just go off with a couple of friends or a friend at the minute, and they absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can, you know, and it doesn't cost you anything. You know, people will tell you have to buy this kit, that kit, the other kit. You don't. I go in my same things I'd go into the pool with. I have a tow float if I'm going further on my own that carries my phone in it in case I need to get out and ring somebody, and some food in case I need to stop midway for a snack. You know, you don't need vast amounts. You know, it's free. You just turn up. If you just want to dip in there and get that buzz, then you can do that. That's the beauty of it.
Oh, amazing. And going back to yourself then, obviously you've done the channel, you've done some of these amazing swims that you've mentioned. Have you got any other further ambitions? Anything else you'd love to conquer, challenges?
Yeah, I've still got one that's in my head that I'd love to be able to do one day, which is the North Channel. So that's from Ireland to Scotland, but as a solo on my own.
Wow.
So I have spoken to pilots, a pilot over there recently, just to put feelers out, because I'm not classed as a fast swimmer. You know, right. You know, my channel swim was longer. There's people that are far faster. I swim a mile in about 30 minutes. Other people can do it in 20, but none of that matters. So I've been speaking to see if if that would be a possibility. So
how far would that one be then? What's that? What distance? How long roughly would it take?
Similar to the Channel, very similar, but it's colder. The water's more unpredictable. It's more difficult than the Channel. Plus, you've got lion's mane jellyfish, which are not very nice at all. Apparently, they don't like you being in their environment.
I can't understand why. So, Amanda, to wrap this up, it's been absolutely amazing talking to you. But if anybody wants to start open water swimming, what would your advice be?
And my advice would be, don't put it off. It's changed my life. It's given me, as well as being a teacher and being a mum, it's given me that extra bit that holds all of that together. I've met huge amounts of people through swimming, so the social side of it is brilliant. The mental health reset is fantastic. So get on Facebook, get on Twitter, wherever, and search. You only need to put in open water swimming and you'll come up with a whole load of different pages of advice. If you're in Tees Valley, then join Northeast Open Water Swimmers and take it from there. We have a lot of lurkers at first who look what's going on, and then we'll come and join for a swim. And there's very few people who look back. It is life-changing, so do it now.
Oh, amazing. What I'll do is I'll put some of these links into our show notes, so people are watching or listening, and all they have to do is just scroll down and just click, and there'll be loads and loads of these links on. So we'll put all these links on that so people can find them really easily, so they won't have to go into Google. So you have to click on the show notes. That'll make things even easier for them.
Marvelous. That'd be fantastic.
But no, thank you so much for your time, Amanda. It's been great talking to you. Great hearing about your stories about the Channel swim. I'm extremely envious that you've found something that you love. That's, as I say, it's free. It's out there. You can go and do it any day, any time, any weather. But as I say, it's something that at some point I may give it a go. But yeah, but we'll see. I might see you down at the Tees at some point, Amanda.
Yeah, brilliant. You're welcome anytime.
Lovely. All right. Well, great to speak to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
What an amazing conversation that was with Amanda. It was truly inspiring to hear her talk about how she managed to juggle work, family, and clearly a pretty challenging experience of the English Channel swimming. It's something that it hasn't ever appealed to me, but the people that do it, I've got so much admiration for. 18 hours of continuous swimming is something that I couldn't begin to even think about doing, but people that do it is just incredible. And as I say, the respect that I've got for Amanda, people that do it, is absolutely incredible. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We will see you next week.